So every guy is looking to get better year after year. I mean, part of it is out of your control. It's like if you can just stay healthy.
Yeah.
That's a big part of it because you've had the injury adversity the last couple of years. Like last year, what it was, it was concussion protocol. Then I know you
Yeah.
got sick at one point, right?
Yeah.
So there were a couple of games in there. So if the health thing stays cool, then that's part of the opportunity. The other part is where are you better? Like what have you improved? What aspects of your game are on another level, you think?
Yeah. For me, I did a big. My majority of off-season work was working on my short game, like shorter routes, not necessarily deep ball. Like I've been doing deep ball stuff like my whole life, like corner post, go balls, like all that stuff. But for me, it was being more of a like short game guy. Like, can we throw the guy? Like, can we throw him a slant?
Mm-hmm.
Can we throw him a quick out? Can we throw him like an option route? Like, can we give him the ball that way? So that was a big like deal for me. Like working on that. Like, I feel like every day I did something to try to get better at that.
Mm-hmm. So are you any bigger, you think?
Last year I played probably like 182, 81. I'm like 193 right now. So
Okay.
I'll probably play the season like 189.
Okay, so still same speed? Because
Yeah.
I remember hearing a story about you in high school that you won the state 100-meter title, and I think the time was 10.69 in the rain. That's what
Yeah.
Tim keeps telling me. You ran a 10.69 in the rain. So is that part legit or is that urban legend too?
I mean, I definitely did run at least like 10.6, but I'm running into the wind and rain, so that probably definitely ran faster than that. But I don't really think about it too much.
So you weren't 193 at that time. You're 193 now. Are you
Yeah.
still
I'll probably-
running as fast?
I'm probably moving faster than that. So
Okay.
I
All right.
feel good.
So who's the fastest guy on the team?
I'm always gonna say me. I'm definitely the most explosive, like dynamic guy on the team. So.
All right, so let me give you some other candidates because we had Darius in, and Darius said the fastest guy on the team, without question, is Iman Dennis.
Yeah.
So have you guys ever had a foot race?
Every time we've had a race, I haven't really been like at my best. so I think like if you go top 4, like since I've been here, or even 5, it's probably like no order. Like me, Iman, now Marion, and Dax, and then DJ. But DJ, he wasn't moving until last year. Like I never seen him move that fast before. So whatever he did, I'm trying to get some of that, bro. But yeah, I mean it's different though. Like Iman, I don't even want to say this, but like I'm a fast guy. Like I get out quick, but those guys like they get out slower than me, but then they build into it over time.
Mm-hmm. So they when they get in their kick, it's like another gear.
Yeah,
I got you. Yeah. So Marion, man, people have been talking about his freakiness and twitchiness since he arrived on campus. Now he had to get bigger, but looking at some of his drills, he was automatically one of the ones that they put out there as the fastest guy. So have you raced him?
Not yet. I mean, we don't really like race too much. It's
just look
like
at times.
We look at like times and our miles per hour, but I haven't really raced him yet.
All right. So, but
yeah, I mean he's
you're
moving.
The fastest guy.
He's just like we're probably right there, like both of us. So
okay.
And then throw Iman in there.
All right. So when you look at what that might mean for the offense, of course we know that Mariano's on the other side of the ball now, but you got some guys who can run, right? And you got a couple of veteran guy, or a veteran guy, CJ, who's it's not like he's a slow guy either, right?
Yeah,
So you got some fast guys out there. How do you think the offense is going to, are we going to see, you think, more of that? Here's why I asked that question. You just said it took until the Ohio State game for the chemistry to really be there.
Yeah.
Right? It's not like shots weren't taken early in the year. They took shots. Just calibration was off. JJ overthrew a few. His shoulder was getting healthy, getting to know you guys and how fast you were. But then you hit the Ohio State game. Then you hit the Purdue game. I remember the route to Colston in the end zone where he threw it up. Then the TCU game. There were a couple of interceptions in there, but man, you guys were going up and down the field on them through the air. So that's why I asked the question. As you look at this year, seeing the chemistry that you guys established by the end of the year in the throw game, now you got Coach Moore on the ones and twos, solely. How do you think the offense is going to be impacted by that? Is it going to look any different? You think it's going to be totally the same? What do you think?
Yeah, as far as like how this offseason has looked before camp, I felt like we've looked probably better than we have in a long time. Maybe that's just me getting back into it, but man, like I keep telling myself and telling people like, man, we look really good. Like as far as like straight passing plays, like man, we look like amazing. Like I really do like I love being out there and just running routes and you know I know like. I know what's gonna happen. I know where he's gonna put the ball. Like it's perfect. Like every time. Like I can't really complain.
Yeah, that was one of the things I kept talking to guys about. You try to check what players are saying and what coaches are saying and vice versa. To see if they're the same. And the word about JJ was like, man, this dude is just not to say perfect, but he's looking really good and probably like very, very few mistakes. A lot of clean football. Perfectly placed balls. As a receiver, I mean, what did you see during the spring? What are you seeing in the offseason?
I mean, he's just taking his game to like a whole different level. Like, we were watching a film like a couple days ago, and I'm like, bro, got 3 plates of food in there. I'm like, bro, you been here since the morning? Like, you got dishes stacked up in the film room? Like, that's just how much, like, I know he's dedicated his time to. And I know it's hard for him coming off an injury and then being a first-year starter. Like, that's no easy task for anybody. And you can just tell that now he's a lot more comfortable. He knows what it takes. And I feel like he's going to have, like, a very big year.
So get back to what we were talking about earlier about coming off the Georgia game. Now, Georgia had, they're like the 85 Bears, and I know that's before your time, but when I think of like unbelievable defenses that people are going to be talking about for a long time, NFL, you think about 85 Bears, you think about the Ravens, I think it was 01. When we think about great college defenses, we're going to be talking about that Georgia defense. What was like 5 or 6 first-round picks? They were unbelievable.
Probably more than that.
Right. So, when you add the next year, there were more first-round picks on there. So everyone who watched that game tipped the cap and said, all right, that was a better team.
Yeah.
All right, you got to up your game to beat a team like that. Fast forward to last playoff against TCU, and I always qualify it by saying this is not meant as any disrespect to TCU, but I feel like you guys were the better team. I felt like you guys were, were it not for a series of mistakes, I think you blow them out, right? And so, but that didn't happen. So when you come off a game like that, where you felt like you should have beaten the team that you lost to, does it hit you any different as far as your preparation the next offseason? Like, are there any differences between how you guys are grinding this offseason compared to last offseason?
Yeah, definitely this year, people are still working like really hard, but it just comes down to like the little details. Like, you want to say that game came up to us, well, we have to make sure it never comes down to us losing that game ever again. Like I was telling you before, like you come into the weight room, like you see how Coach Herb, I say, conducts our business. Like you see the shoes lined up, so we do one shoe faces this way, one faces that way, perfectly up to the wall. And you're going to see that throughout the whole weight room. You're going to look at our weights. The M is always going to be just like that, like never turned a little bit, always perfect. Like people like to say you can't get perfect, but like you can make sure you can get the closest you can. Like Coach Herb gets mad, like you come in there, like if your shoes are not touching the wall, like that's a big deal. Like if you put your Gatorade bottle down on the line and that G's not facing forward, like that's a big deal. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like that's the difference between us winning and losing that game is like that G facing forward. Like, and it applies to everybody, not just the starters. Like if you're a freshman, like you never know when a freshman is going to come into the game and play. Like I try to tell the young guys, like, yeah, you're going to get your chance this year. Like, what are you going to do when you're out there? You gonna mess the play up? You're going to make sure your G's facing the right way? You're going to run the right route, catch the ball? Like, it really comes down to that stuff.
Yeah, it teaches you to have attention to detail.
Yeah,
It sounds like what you're talking about. So when you think back to the TCU game, I remember talking to Will. He said he felt like maybe it was, you guys were maybe too keyed up for it. What do you think? When you look back on not being able to play your best game that day, have you thought about what might have led to that?
Like looking back at it, I don't know what went wrong. Like I try not to think about it. It just sucks because everybody on the team knows we could have and should have won that game. You know, they made some plays, we made more plays, but it just happened that it just wasn't enough.
Yeah.
And, I don't know. I don't know what it was.
Yeah, well, whatever it was, it certainly has helped fuel the sharpness of the focus heading into this season. Another adjustment, though, is Coach Moore.
Yeah.
Coach Moore being on the ones and twos, as I said himself. What impact, if any, do you have a feel for what kind of impact that may have? Could you feel like the rhythm of the offense last year between play callers? Did you ever notice that?
I never really noticed that, but you can definitely feel like a different type of play calling in. Like, I know what Coach Moore what plays he likes to run and what pass plays he likes to do, and I also know what Coach Weiss likes to do. Like, I know, oh yeah, this might be a Coach Weiss play because it's going to come in like an NFL type play. Like, there's going to be we're always going to make sure we're in the right play. It's going to be like one play. If you see a different coverage, it's going to be another play, like stuff like that.
So, is it something that you guys, as you think about how things might be different? Because I said you got a beginning of the season and the end of the season. You guys were still a run. You were still a run first team, still a running team. But it just felt like, at least to me, you pushed the ball down the field a little more regularly. I don't know if that was just because they were successful, but it felt like there were more shot plays. So it may be not more pass plays, but of the pass plays you called, it felt like there were more shots. Is that accurate? And do you see that as maybe something that could be something we see this year?
I mean, definitely for sure. Again, every team, I feel like every team, whatever level you are, if you can run the ball, you're going to do it. If you can run the ball and get 5 yards every play, you're going to do it for sure. But as far as passing the ball, I feel like it's always been part of our game. I don't know how fans look at it, if we think we can't pass the ball, but as far as a quarterback, receiver, even coaches, we know we can do it, 100%. If we had to go a whole game and just to pass the ball, we could definitely do it. But going into this year, I feel like our pass game, on top of that, already looks a lot better. So I feel like that could be something we see a lot more of this year.